Hello, my name's Rusty Coons, and I have Jordan Mastagni of Hot Bike Magazine with me. How you doing, man?
Rusty, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Man, I like that background you got going on there. Can I borrow that from you?
Yeah, you know what? You can have your very own background because this is a pull-out poster in the brand new issue of Hot Bike.
You're kidding.
No.
That's going to be like a full-on poster, like the two-page thing,
Yeah,
like the
it's
old
not
days.
gonna be. It is. It's
It's
in the
already.
issue. It's on sale now. Check out
Love it.
hotbike.com, get your first copy and get this poster that comes out, two-page spread comes out. It's really cool.
I love it. So
Done by
basically,
a
what's your?
local artist that his name's Jason Cruz.
Yeah.
Dude's awesome. He's gonna do one every issue.
Oh, I love that. Kind of like they used to do in the old days, where they'd have some cool ass, art thing in every one. Everybody's going to get it just for that, you know.
I hope so.
But you're right. You're like trying to bring back the vintage, cool magazine of the old days. That, like, I remember, man, in the old days, I would wait for these certain bike magazines to come out. You know what I mean? And just for that, you know what I mean? And the stories. You gonna put in some stories, like some cool road stories?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Like Hot Bike, it really touches on a lot of different genres within that custom culture, right? Like within the V twin and custom and performance culture.
Yeah.
So we say, are you going to bring back some of that vintage stuff? I mean, there will be some of that, but there's also going to be a lot of, what's new and what's
Oh yeah. Yeah. All
coming
that.
up, and
Yeah.
there's going to be everything. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool to be able to bring the magazine back since the first
Yeah.
time in since 2019.
Absolutely, man. That's just great, man. I mean, I always liked you guys. When I had Illusion down there in Westminster, we worked with you guys several times. I think we might have had a Bike in Your Bagger magazine too, a bagger that we did one time. And but you guys were cool as hell, man. You were ready to go. You know what I mean? It's like wasn't screwing around. You always did what you said what you did, and it was a class act. You know what I'm saying? So
We've
anyhow,
definitely
before we get
tried.
all into hot bike, which is now you own it, control it, the whole deal. Let's get back into where you came from. All right. So what I want to do is go back. I know you grew up in the San Joaquin Valley. So did I. You know, and it's all farmland up there. Great spot when you're a kid and you want to ride dirt bikes and stuff. But tell me about your first introduction to two wheels.
Yeah. So I guess, my first introduction would be through my mom, who used to ride her little Trail 90 while she was pregnant with me. So
I can
maybe,
see what happened to you.
yeah, I
You
know,
bounce around too much.
right? My wife says the same thing.
Oh, was
Uh,
she riding around that way too?
no, but she says the same thing about me.
Oh, right. Well, she's right, man.
She is right. Hey, she's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
She's a smart
Even it
gal.
takes a little bit of twisted personality to do these kind of things and be creative, you know?
It does. It does. So anyway, my mom, on my mom's side of the family, my uncle and my grandfather owned a motorcycle dealership in Bakersfield. At the time, it was called Honda Center, right? Now it's called Fred Cummings Motorsports. They're still open, and they've been open for almost maybe even 60 years now.
Wow.
Uh, but yeah, still going. And it kind of just it's in my blood, it's in my DNA, right? So I just kind of grew up on two wheels, used to ride dirt bikes, like you said, in and around Bakersfield, in the farmland. There's a lot of dirt out there, Rusty. So
Yeah, tell me about it.
but you got nothing better to do than like go party with your friends out at the farm and then ride dirt bikes during the day. And it was a lot of fun. But I'd say 13 was probably my first encounter with riding bikes. I had an XR80. Actually, I didn't even have it. My friend that was my bike that he would let me ride because my parents were totally against it. You know what I mean? How ironic is that?
Yeah, yeah,
My mom,
yeah.
her father owns a motorcycle dealership, but she won't let me ride one. So I had to
Okay.
sneak out and I had to ride it, with my friend. I had an XR80 that he let me ride, and he had a CR80 that he would ride. So the 4-stroke versus the 2-stroke. And one day he let me ride in the CR80. And I'd ridden the XR80 a bunch of times, but the CR80 was just so much more powerful. And I whiskey throttled it over a berm at our like local kind of pump track. And it was like, yeah, this is incredible. Yeah, it hurt, but it was like the most exhilarating thing I'd ever experienced in my life. Um,
Got
and
you hooked, huh?
and the most embarrassing at the time, right? Um, but yeah, it got me hooked and kind of started that love affair with two wheels.
Right on, man. So
Yeah.
after that, when did you get into the bigger bikes?
So in high school, I started riding some sport bikes
Hmm.
just after high school a little bit. And then I didn't really ride for a couple years. I'd moved out to Huntington Beach because I got tired of Bakersfield, if you can believe it. It's a magical place, but needed something new to keep me out of trouble. So I
Yeah,
moved
we
to
might
Huntington
not be
Beach.
talking right now if you would have stayed in Bakersfield.
You never know.
Yeah,
You never know, but I don't want to go there.
yeah,
But so I went to school, and that's the other reason that I wanted to get to Huntington Beach was I really wanted to pursue my journalism degree. I like to write, and there was a school, Cal State Fullerton, that had a really good journalism program. So I went there, got my degree, and lived at the beach, and it was just like heaven, right? You're living at the beach, tons of girls everywhere, the party scene was awesome. And then, so yeah, I surfed, went to school, but when I got my journalism degree, my kind of love for motorcycles and my love for riding kind of converged, right? And it came full circle when I got my first job out of college working for Hot Bike magazine. And actually it wasn't Hot Bike that I started with right away. It was Hot Rods Bike Works. It used to be Hot Rod Harleys. You probably remember that.
yeah. They
And
were under the same company,
yeah,
right?
yeah, we were all
Yeah,
under what was called Prime Media, was the publisher at the time.
yeah,
But you know, it had changed hands several times even back then. And that's just kind of like the corporate publishing climate that I learned. You just get bought out like every few years.
yeah.
It's just merger after merger after merger. And it's just kind of like,
Yeah, I
okay,
remember him. I remember him under another name. I
yeah,
can't
it
remember.
was
Yeah,
McMullen Argus. It was,
McMullen. That's the one I remember.
well,
Yeah.
Tom McMullen is the one, that started Hot Bike. He started Street Chopper, and then Hot Bike spun off of that in
Hmm.
71. Street Chopper started in 69. And then he started a bunch of other mags too, right? That are still kind of being published. But anyway, so Hot Bike kind of came to me after a few months of working there. I think just kind of trying to prove myself, like prove my value. And then I got promoted to an editor type, like I think they call it an associate editor, where they're like, hey, here's a camera, go out to these events and shoot some stuff, right? And write stories. And then
Hmm.
do that every month. And then turn that stuff in, and then it becomes an article, right? So it's like, wait, I'm getting paid for this to go travel around the country and shoot photos of rad motorcycles and meet cool people and write about it.
Oh
Sign
yeah.
me up, man. Yeah, it was the dream. So I did that, and like I just kind of fell in love with it, right? It was always something I was passionate about through the years, and then I just climbed that corporate ladder, so to speak, and became the senior editor. And then I moved over to Baggers magazine and was the editor in chief of that for a few years. And then, came full circle to Hot Bike back in 2018 and became the content director and the editor in chief of that, Street Chopper, Baggers, and Motorcycle Cruiser. And then I got the rug pulled out from under me in 2019, and the company that owned it just killed those brands, and my job was eliminated as a result. But it wasn't necessarily, I think that was kind of like, if you didn't see that writing on the wall, if I didn't see that writing on the wall in 2018 when I landed that gig, I kind of knew it was coming, right? And it's just that was the climate of the old publishing model at the time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Big media, big publishing houses with huge overhead, a lot of like, office spaces and personnel that they just couldn't
Top heavy,
afford
man.
anymore. Yeah,
Top
very
heavy.
top heavy.
Yeah.
They they didn't understand running lean.
So what I'm seeing here is like you came there, what, 2006, and you
Yes.
were there till 2018 before you later, when you ended up with it. But that's like 12 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know it inside out.
It was a good run. And you know what? Like I was I was curious like how look, through the years there'd been, rounds of layoffs after layoffs after layoffs, and you're just kind of wondering like when's my time up, right? This isn't gonna last forever. Just
Yeah.
from
So you made it to
watching
you
just
made it all the
watching your
way out.
friends, yeah, watching your friends like get clipped. But yeah, I ended up making it all the way out. And then I had the fortunate opportunity uh after 2019 to buy the rights and the intellectual property in 2021, which has been awesome.
Right on.
It's been a huge undertaking, but it's been great.
Right.
Uh,
So tell
but
me, what are your plans with Hot Bike? Can you kind of break it down into bullet points on what you want to achieve with Hot Bike?
yeah, you know what? It's interesting that you asked that. And when I first bought the IP, I didn't know exactly what it was. I
Hmm.
didn't know what I wanted to do. I had an idea, I knew that like Hot Bike's audience was super engaged and very loyal and just a bunch of rad people. And I was kind of stoked to like buy the brand to get back to speaking to those people because
Hmm.
they're like some of the most down to earth, just friendly, awesome people. And you really, meeting these people in the flesh as opposed to like getting a letter to the editor. And we'd meet a lot of these people on the hot bike tours. I don't know if you were ever a part of one of those, Rusty, but they were just awesome. And it was like a great opportunity for all the staff, the hot bike staff, to meet the people actually like subscribe to your magazine. And it was great because it was a family type vibe. And I loved that, right? It always spoke to me, and it was cool to like, I want to get back to that eventually. But for the overall vision, I think it's just offer anything and everything that is specific to this culture, and done well in a quality way through whatever channel we offer, whether that's the social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or through our own website, hotbike.com, or through, the videos that we produce, the videos that we create, to now a print magazine, right? And look, when I bought it, print wasn't really on my radar. I always knew the print was kind of the foundation of what Hot Bike was, but I didn't know if it necessarily would be again, right? But I think we're in this interesting place in the way content is consumed, to where magazines don't really exist anymore, at least at the level at which they did. And I think within this industry, it's just gotten that group has gotten even smaller, and I think it was just a good opportunity and the right time to try to bring this magazine back, because I think this audience definitely appreciates a tactile, physical experience when they're reading something, as opposed to like just this, right? All day. And I think it's nice to have that tangible element, right? And I think, being that the motorcycle culture is such a touch and feel culture, right? Like a magazine just kind of, to me, goes hand in hand. And the other thing too, you could probably speak to this, Rusty, but when you built a custom bike, what was the life cycle of that? Wouldn't the goal always be to get it featured in a magazine?
Always.
Always,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. We were in touch with you guys right off the bat a few times on some of
Yeah.
those bikes, you know? we always wanted to make, to be with people that were relevant, you know,
Yeah,
and you guys were relevant and you were right in town and it worked out really good. We got some
yeah,
good features. I've got at my building, I've got a bunch of those framed plaques on the walls, and I know that I don't know how many of them are hot bike, but I got them in there. You know.
yeah. And that was it didn't matter. Like it was just cool to like get your bike featured to kind of
Oh
like
yeah, big
put a
time.
put a
Yep.
bow on the completion of that bike's life cycle,
Yeah,
right?
it's like a validation.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah. And then it
definitely.
was like, okay, check that bike off the list, right? Now I can start on the next one, right? But like all those went away.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to have that and you can see guys are getting excited about getting featured in print again. I mean, if you get something featured on the cover, forget
Yeah.
about it. It's like it's the gold standard.
So what are you going to concentrate on? Is it going to be vintage bikes or chop? I mean, what is it? Is it everything or
Yeah, yeah, it's
okay?
going to be, obviously hot bike has always been very performance based. That's what started. It was like hot rod for
Sure.
motorcycles, right?
Yeah.
And that has just evolved. You see like the racing element with, bagger racing. A lot of people make fun of it, but it's pretty incredible to witness if you go there and see a race firsthand. It's like
Yeah.
it ain't no joke, man. And then you see like some of the drag racing and the hill climbing and the flat tracking, and I think racing has always been within hot bikes roots. So there's definitely some of that plays well here. There's the custom culture, from the stuff that used to get featured back in the days, and to the stuff that still is relevant today with like the bikes of Born Free or like Mama Tried or name one of the other like kind of bigger rallies that have become part of the landscape and the culture nowadays, right? And it's cool to see this community and this culture and how it's changed and changing and evolving, and hot bike will be there to kind of cover it all.
Good. So we can expect to see old vintage knuckles and stuff, also choppers, also baggers, also race bikes, and like you used to do with the articles about performance upgrades and all that, featuring
Yeah,
all the latest parts and different things like that. And you'll have the sponsors you used to have with all the performance upgrades and everything.
yeah, and
Mhm.
that's definitely one way to put it, and I think done so in a more evergreen kind of way, because we are only a quarterly publication,
Yeah,
and I don't know if we'll ever increase the frequency beyond that. Um, but you will see the kind of stuff you used to love, plus, it done in a pretty compelling way that I think you'll appreciate, right? And then yes, the sponsors, man, that have supported this from the beginning, all of the advertisers, any of the subscribers, all of you, thank you for going on this ride with us and helping us get back to where we are. We couldn't do it without you, and we're just very grateful. And it's fun to kind of see you know how this story is getting written, right? It's fun to be
yeah,
part of that story while it's getting written. And it's cool to see the print ads that come in every issue from the advertisers. It's like they're getting excited about their print ad, and they
yeah.
cool to see those.
Hey
So
man, tell me about that guy that has that bike from way back, like in the 71 article or something, the 77-year-old guy or whatever.
oh yeah. I'll
Yeah.
see, maybe you can see it. I don't know, I'm looking at this, it's kind of blurry on this
Back it
screen.
up a little bit.
Back it up.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah, it's in and out. What are you turning into a ghost on me?
It's
There you
Casper.
go. Okay, right in there. Anyhow, describe what that is because we're not going to see it, man. That thing keeps going away.
Yeah, I'll give you a little teaser for maybe the next issue. We tracked down this guy. Look, one of the cool things about when you buy the intellectual property of a media company is you inherit the archives, which
Yeah.
I got like 50 years worth of gold. And one of those things is old magazines, right? So I found this issue that I saw the cover, and it's this old Scrambler Sportster, right? From the issue of, I think it's a 1991 issue. But
Uh,
this thing looks like how it how Harley Davidson would have made a scrambler had it come from the factory. Like, it's to the T. It looks stock, but it's anything but, right? Because you and I both know 1991's Harley wasn't making scramblers. So
yeah.
this guy did a great job of kind of like paying attention to the details and making this thing look stock. So we found this guy. He lives out in Victorville, that owns this bike. He's a 77-year-old guy that still rides it out in the dirt. And the bike is essentially frozen in time. Like, it looks exactly like it did in this cover article.
And he rides it all the time.
Still rides it all the time. So we're gonna go
That's
out
great,
kind of do a
man.
story on him. But that's the kind of stuff that you can expect, where it's like, you got to know where you came from to know where you're going, right? And we
Yeah.
understand that, there's so much that went into the history and the heritage of this brand, and we kind of have to like pay our respects to that because it's so essential for our future.
Yeah. I
So
hope you can find some of those guys from those old articles like that and see where they're at now and see where those bikes are. That would be real interesting.
it's yeah, it's actually what we're going to be doing. We like a I don't know if we're going to call it a where are they now type scenario, but guys like this, there's a few others that we already are aware of. So you can expect to see stuff like that where we bring out the survivors that used to exist in the hot bike.
I love it.
Yeah, it's
I love it,
cool.
man.
Just one thing. Yeah. So yeah, we're excited. And we just published our first issue, came out like a few weeks ago, a month ago, and we're already on to the next. So issue number 2 coming soon.
Right on, man. You got anything else you want to add? Like throw out your media so everybody knows how to get a hold of you.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we're only subscription only at the moment. So you can sign up for a subscription. Not only a subscription, you can buy a single copy or a subscription.
Mhm.
You can get there at store.hotbike.com, or just go to hotbike.com and it'll direct you how to go there and sign up for a
Right.
subscription or buy a copy, or get something like this cool sweatshirt.
So what
uh,
about the guys that are out there that are building some chops in the garage and restoring some old vintage bikes and the bagger racers? How do they get a hold of you? Just go to .com or what?
yeah, if you're interested in submitting like a feature, or you want
Yeah.
to talk about whatever's on your mind in terms of maybe you have an idea for an article or something like that, just reach out to our general mailbox, which is
Okay.
info@hotbike.com. So
Perfect.
super
Perfect.
simple. Yeah, yeah.
You're going to be hitting all the events.
Yep. Yeah,
You're,
you can find us at our local event here at Born Free, coming up here in
yep.
God, I
Yep.
can't believe a month from now. And then
Yeah. Every year. Every year.
we're gonna
Yep.
be Sturgis, and looking into maybe doing Harley's 120th, and a couple of other ones. But yeah, definitely, you'll see us around a lot more, and we're looking forward to the future.
Hey, one thing I want to deviate from is in your story there, you worked for Arch Motorcycle for a minute, right?
I did.
How
Yeah.
long was that?
So when I got laid off, right, from the magazine, I took a few months to hang out. My daughter had just been born. She's now 4.
Mhm.
So it was kind of, I think a good time, right? So I got laid off and I could spend some time, with the family. And then I realized I had to earn a living to support the family. So I had to get back
Yeah.
to work, right? And luckily, Arch Motorcycle was hiring like a sales and marketing type role, right? So I
Yeah.
had a relationship or a rapport with Guard Hollinger. The company's owned by Guard Hollinger and Keanu Reeves. So featuring Guard's bikes through the years, in the LA Chop Rods days or even early Arch days, I had a relationship with him. And I just texted him and I said, "Hey, I saw that somebody who was leaving that position, name is Heath, he posted on his Facebook page, 'Hey, today's my last day at Arch.'" and I was, laid off, out of work. Severance was running out. So I had to get something, right? And so I pinged Gar and was like, you should hire me. I know nothing about sales and marketing, so I think I'd be a great fit. And actually it worked. Shit. I mean, shoot. But it was cool. I went in there, interviewed with Gard and Keanu a few times. You know, they didn't like just hire me right away. I had to go through a couple rounds of interviews because they're very methodical in their approach and they want to make sure everything's a good fit, not only with their bikes, but like every element to Arch.
That's to their credit right there.
Yeah,
Give
yeah,
a little real quick for the people that don't know, a little rundown on that bike. I like those bikes. I always have.
yeah,
I think they had
yeah.
something called Confederate that was similar, back in the day. I don't know what happened to them, but give a little rundown of that.
Yes. So that was what, 2019, April 2019 is when I started there. And, you know, it was a cool experience for me because, I was on the other side of the fence covering cool bikes. And now I'm on the production side of the fence and seeing how everything's made, right? So that was a great experience. I really value that time. I spent 4 years there. I just left in March of this year. But the bike, yes, the bike that started the company was the KRGT1, right? And it's something that they still manufacture today, and it's evolved substantially through the years. But it's what they call a performance cruiser. It's a 124 cubic inch air cooled V twin engine, but like just the attention to detail and the craftsmanship are really what set it apart. And it's bespoke to each customer, right? So there's a kind of a personalization process that happens with each customer that buys an Arch. They get to kind of be a part of the design of their personalized bike from the beginning.
Yeah,
And that was cool to kind of see how that all went down, right? So it's a very unique process for one of the owners to go through that experience, and it's something that I guarantee that is nothing like anything else they own. And it's such a diverse group of owners and such a great group and a cool group of owners that they've cultivated through the years that that are just like really special people, and it's cool. But that bike is awesome to ride. They just released their second model of like a few months ago, I think October of 2022, the 1S, which is a sportier bike. It's a more of a sport oriented, more upright riding position, a lot more aggressive.
mhm,
Uh, you're sitting on top of it more than in it, like you would a cruiser.
yeah,
Uh, and it's a little more agile. It's got a mid-mounted foot control as opposed to a forward. And it's just a cool variation of what they'd offered, right? And they have a third model coming out that's still in the you know, final stages before it gets produced, and it'll be produced in a limited capacity. They're only making 23 of these bikes, and it's probably one of the coolest bikes I've ever seen, called the Method 143. And it's a concept that they're going to make available for purchase in a batch of 23, right? And it's like, I look at it like I was just at Arch a few weeks ago, and it's still like, damn, that's the coolest bike, one of the coolest bikes I've ever seen.
right on, man. So I think we covered contact. I want to make sure everybody knows how to get a hold of you, and
Yeah.
that's hotbike.com.
Yep.
All right,
Hotbike.com. If you have any questions, comments, send us an email to info@hotbike.com. You can
right.
buy a copy of the current issue on sale now at store.hotbike.com, or just go through hotbike.com and you'll get there. But sign up for a subscription, support independent publishing, support, what we're doing. I think it's unique, and we're grateful, and we want to keep doing it and keep bringing you guys some cool stuff to look at.
Yeah, and remember, all you builders out there, get a hold of these guys, man. They're looking for content. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Send your
Yeah,
bikes,
yeah,
yeah, always, always.
yeah, man. All right. Well, it's good talking to you, man.
Yeah, great talking
Glad
with
to
you,
see you,
Lester.
man. It's been a while.
It's been a while, but I'm sure we'll see a lot more of each
Oh
other,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh yeah. You keep me in mind, man. I want to keep up with everything you're doing.
Absolutely.
I'm
Yeah.
excited about bringing this back, man. I love it.
Thanks.
I
Yeah.
like that poster right there. I want that.
Go get a copy. You get with this poster,
All
you can
right.
pull it out, put it on your wall. It's awesome.
Right on, man.
making
Right.
magazines cool again.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank
All
you. I
right, brother.
appreciate the
I'll
time.
talk to you in a
Have a
while.
great day. Thanks.
See you later.